Hello there and welcome to Calm Science. I am so glad that you are here. Take a moment now to find a comfortable position, a way of resting that feels effortless and gentle. Allow your body to grow heavy, releasing the tensions of the day. There is nothing you need to do, nothing to figure out. Your only task is to listen or to drift away into sleep. The choice is yours, and either one is perfectly fine. Tonight, we will wander through the quiet museum of the sky, exploring 100 gentle wonders of weather. We will touch upon the softest clouds, the quietest rain, and the subtle architecture of light. From the scent that rises after a sun shower to the delicate crystals of a snowflake, we will move at a slow and easy pace. You can let your mind fade in and out. The story will remain simple, and the calm will be here for you whenever you return. Settle in and let's begin. Fact 1. In the highest parts of the troposphere, wisps of white paint the deep blue canvas of the sky. These are cirrus clouds, made not of water droplets, but of tiny ice crystals. They float at altitudes above 20,000 feet, where the air is thin and freezing cold. Their delicate, feathery appearance often resembles strands of hair or fine silk, stretched and pulled by high-altitude winds. These clouds do not bring rain to the ground, but they can be messengers. Their presence often signals that a change in the weather is coming within the next day or two. Through a soft lens, you can imagine these silent, frozen threads drifting far above the world. Let the thought soften at the edges and fade. Fact 2. There is a particular scent that often follows the first rain after a long dry spell. This earthy fragrance is called petrichor. It is not the smell of the rain itself, but a combination of substances released from the earth. One of the main components is an oily compound produced by plants, which gets absorbed by clay and soil during dry periods. When raindrops hit the ground, they trap tiny air bubbles that float upward and burst, releasing this scent into the air along with other compounds like geosmin, made by soil bacteria. It is the smell of the earth awakening, a quiet perfume released by the thirsty ground. In this way, even a simple rain shower has its own gentle announcement. Let that settle like dust on a quiet floor. Fact 3. As the night cools the land, you may wake to find the world coated in a layer of glistening water droplets. This is dew, and it is not a form of rain. Instead, it forms directly on surfaces, like blades of grass, spider webs, and fallen leaves. Every object has a temperature at which the air around it becomes saturated with water vapor. This is called the dew point. On clear, calm nights, objects on the ground often cool down faster than the air. When their surface temperature drops to the dew point, the invisible water vapor in the air condenses directly into liquid water. It is a quiet transformation, a secret watering of the landscape that happens while the world sleeps. Rest in the steady comfort of this moment. Fact 4. If you have ever spent a warm afternoon near the coast, you may have felt a refreshing breeze blowing in from the water. This is a sea breeze, a gentle and predictable daily wind. During the day, the land heats up much faster than the sea. This warm land heats the air above it, causing it to rise. As this warm air rises, it creates an area of lower pressure. The cooler, denser air over the water then flows inland to fill this space, creating the pleasant sea breeze. This process is a simple convection cycle, a breathing motion between land and sea that brings a natural coolness to the shore. From a distance, it is a perfect example of nature finding balance. You can breathe a little deeper and allow the thought to drift. Fact 5. Perhaps one of the most beloved weather wonders is the rainbow, a perfect arc of color painted across the sky. A rainbow is an optical phenomenon caused by the reflection and refraction of sunlight within millions of tiny water droplets, usually raindrops. As sunlight enters a droplet, it bends or refracts. It then reflects off the inner surface of the droplet and refracts again as it exits. Because different colors of light bend at slightly different angles, the white sunlight is separated into its spectrum of colors. To see a rainbow, the sun must be behind you, and the rain must be in front of you. It is a beautiful alignment of light, water, and perspective. Hold the shape of that thought lightly and return to ease. Fact 6. There is a silent magic in falling snow, and much of it lies in the impossible intricacy of each snowflake. A snowflake is an ice crystal that forms when a supercooled water droplet freezes onto a tiny particle in the atmosphere. As it falls, it grows, with water vapor freezing onto its surface. The six-sided shape comes from the way water molecules bond together. The final, complex pattern is determined by the specific temperature and humidity it encounters on its long journey down. This is why it is often said that no two snowflakes are exactly alike. Each one is a frozen record of its unique path through the sky. Under quiet skies, this simple process creates infinite beauty. Set the idea down and feel the weight release. Fact 7. Sometimes the clouds do not float high in the sky, but instead settle right down to the ground, wrapping the world in a soft gray blanket. This is fog, which is essentially a stratus cloud that is formed at or near the Earth's surface. It happens when the air becomes saturated with water vapor, usually because of cooling. As the air cools to its dew point, the invisible water vapor condenses into tiny liquid water droplets that hang suspended in the air. This reduces visibility and muffles sound, creating a quiet, introspective world. It's a reminder that the line between the sky and the ground is not always so clear. In this quiet corner, the world feels still and calm. Feel the calm gather around you again. Fact 8. On a cold, clear day, you might notice two bright spots of light flanking the sun, like a pair of faint companions. These are called sundogs, or parhelia. They are not other suns, but an atmospheric illusion created by light interacting with tiny, hexagonal ice crystals in high-altitude cirrus clouds. For sundogs to appear, these plate-shaped crystals must be floating with their large, flat faces parallel to the ground. As sunlight passes through them, it is bent at a minimum angle of 22 degrees, creating the bright spots on either side of the sun. They are part of a larger family of ice halos, silent jewels of the upper atmosphere. In a calm rhythm, light and ice create a quiet spectacle. Let your shoulders drop and the jaw unclench. Fact 9. The familiar puffy, cotton-like clouds that drift across the sky on a sunny day are called cumulus clouds. They are often called fair weather clouds because their presence usually indicates a stable and pleasant atmosphere. Cumulus clouds form when warm air rises, cools, and condenses. They have characteristically flat bases, which mark the altitude where the dew point is reached and condensation begins. Their tops are rounded and billow upwards as the rising air currents continue to push them. Watching them drift and change shape can be a deeply calming activity, a slow and silent parade in the sky. As you rest, picture these soft shapes floating by without a care. Let the body grow heavier as the mind stays simple. Fact 10. Have you ever seen dark streaks of rain falling from a cloud that seem to vanish before they reach the ground? This phenomenon is called virga. It is precipitation that evaporates or sublimes in the dry air beneath a cloud. Virga is common in dry regions, where the layer of air between the cloud base and the ground has very low humidity. As the raindrops or ice crystals fall, the dry air absorbs the moisture, and the precipitation disappears, leaving only a wispy trail. It looks like a ghostly fringe hanging from the cloud's underbelly. Elsewhere in this picture it is raining, but here the rain never arrives. It is a quiet reminder of the unseen processes that happen in the air around us. Return to the easy rhythm of your breath. Fact 11. The sound of rain is one of the most soothing sounds in nature, partly because of its gentle, varied rhythm. The sound itself is not from the rain falling through the air, but from the impact of each droplet on a surface. A drop hitting a puddle makes a different sound than one hitting a leaf, a window pane, or a metal roof. A light drizzle creates a soft, hazy static, while a heavier downpour can become a steady, deep drumming. Our brains often interpret these non-threatening, repetitive sounds as calming, allowing us to relax and feel secure. This gentle percussion has been a backdrop to life on Earth for millions of years. Without any hurry, let the sound wash over your mind. Nothing urgent here, only a slow and steady pattern. Fact 12. On a cold, clear morning, the world can be transformed into a delicate, crystalline landscape. This is frost, and like dew, it forms directly on surfaces rather than falling from the sky. Frost occurs when the temperature of a surface drops below the freezing point of water. Instead of condensing into liquid dew, the water vapor in the air transitions directly into solid ice crystals through a process called deposition. This creates the intricate, feathery patterns of hoar frost that can coat every branch, blade of grass, and window pane. It is a silent and beautiful transformation, turning a familiar landscape into a temporary work of art made of ice. As the night settles, the world is gently decorated with crystals. Settle back into the soft pace of night. Fact 13. Around sunset or sunrise, when the sun is low in the sky, you may see radiant beams of light streaming through gaps in the clouds. These are called crepuscular rays. The rays themselves are parallel, but perspective makes them appear to diverge from the sun's position, like spokes on a wheel. Their visibility is enhanced by the contrast between the bright beams and the shadowed areas of the sky. The light is scattered by particles of dust and haze in the atmosphere, making the path of the sunlight visible to our eyes. It is a quiet, beautiful effect that highlights the texture and depth of the atmosphere. In quieter hours, the light itself seems to take on a gentle shape. Let that idea rest for a moment before we move on. Fact 14. Just as the sea sends a cool breeze to the land during the day, the land returns the favor at night. This is the land breeze, the gentle nighttime counterpart to the sea breeze. After sunset, the land cools down much faster than the water. As the land cools, so does the air above it, making it denser. This cool, dense air then flows from the land out toward the sea, where the air is warmer and the pressure is lower. The land breeze is typically weaker than the sea breeze, but is part of the same daily rhythmic cycle of heating and cooling. With unhurried steps, the air moves in a great slow circle, balancing the temperatures between the land and the ocean. Allow the mind to idle in gentle space. Fact 15. Some days the sky is not painted with distinct clouds, but is instead covered in a uniform grayish sheet. These are stratus clouds, and they form in stable, calm air conditions. A stratus cloud is a horizontal layer of water droplets, or ice crystals that can cover the entire sky like a blanket of fog that never reaches the ground. They often bring overcast days and can produce a light drizzle or fine snow. While they lack the dramatic shapes of cumulus clouds, they have a subtle beauty of their own, softening the sunlight and creating a sense of quiet enclosure. In the gentle background, they create a ceiling for the world, giving a feeling of peace and stillness. Let your breathing find a slower pace. Fact 16. When sunlight passes through a fine mist or a thin cloud, you might see a faint circular rainbow surrounding your shadow. This is called a glory. Glories are most often seen from high altitudes, such as on a mountain or from an airplane when looking down at clouds below. A glory is an optical phenomenon caused by light being scattered backward toward the observer by the tiny water droplets within a cloud. The exact physics are complex, involving surface waves and interference patterns. The effect is a series of concentric colored rings, with red on the outside and blue on the inside, centered on the point directly opposite the sun. As the pattern repeats, light and water create quiet magic. Feel the simple ease of being here. Fact 17. In the polar regions and on very cold winter nights, you might see a strange sight, a vertical pillar of light extending upward from a light source. This is a light pillar, and it is not a beam of light shooting up, but an optical illusion. It is formed by the reflection of light from countless tiny ice crystals suspended in the atmosphere. These crystals are typically flat and hexagonal, and if they are oriented horizontally as they fall, they act like a collective mirror reflecting light from a source like the sun, the moon, or even streetlights. The pillar seems to stretch upwards because the crystals are at various altitudes, all reflecting light back to your eyes. Over time, the air itself can build columns of light. Let the body be held by what supports you. Fact 18. High in the atmosphere, about 50 miles above the surface, a rare and beautiful type of cloud can form. These are noctilucent clouds, or night-shining clouds. They are the highest clouds in Earth's atmosphere, forming in the mesosphere. Made of incredibly tiny ice crystals that cling to fine dust particles, possibly from meteors, they are too faint to be seen during the day. They become visible only during deep twilight, after sunset or before sunrise, when the lower atmosphere is dark, but they are still high enough to be illuminated by the sun. They often appear as electric blue or silvery wisps against the darkening sky. Along a steady path, they catch the last light of the day. Allow the day to fall away now. Fact 19. Weather is not just wind and rain, but also pressure. A barometer is the instrument used to measure atmospheric pressure, the weight of the air in the atmosphere pressing down on us. A simple barometer can be made with a sealed body of air that expands and contracts. In a high-pressure system, the air is sinking and is more dense, so it presses down more firmly. This usually brings calm, clear weather. In a low-pressure system, the air is rising, so it pushes down with less force. This often leads to clouds and precipitation. These gentle changes in pressure, though invisible, are the engines that drive our daily weather. Meanwhile, the unseen world of air continues its silent work. Rest in the quiet that follows. Fact 20. Sometimes, the boundary between two different air masses is visible as a line of clouds or a shift in the weather. This is called a front. A cold front occurs when a colder, denser air mass pushes into a region of warmer air. Because the cold air is heavy, it wedges underneath the warm air, forcing it to rise rapidly. This can create dramatic clouds and showers. A warm front is gentler. A warmer, lighter air mass slides up and over a cooler air mass. This gradual lifting produces a wide area of layered stratus-like clouds and often a period of steady, light rain. From a distance, these are slow, inevitable meetings in the atmosphere. Hold only the calm and let the rest drift. Fact 21. The seasons we experience are one of the grandest weather patterns of all. A global rhythm of warmth and cold, growth and rest. The seasons are not caused by the Earth getting closer to or farther from the Sun. Instead, they are the result of the tilt of Earth's axis, which is angled at about 23.5 degrees. As the Earth orbits the Sun, this tilt means that for part of the year, the northern hemisphere is tilted toward the Sun, receiving more direct sunlight and experiencing summer. 6 months later, it is tilted away, receiving less direct sunlight and experiencing winter. With simple patience, the entire planet breathes through this long, slow cycle. Let that thought soften at the edges and fade. Fact 22. Some clouds are not born of rising warm air, but are instead sculpted by the wind flowing over mountains. These are lenticular clouds. When stable, moist air flows over a mountain range, it can create a series of large-scale standing waves in the air, much like ripples in a stream flowing over a rock. If the air in these waves cools to the dew point, a smooth, lens-shaped cloud will form at the crest of the wave. They often look like stationary polished flying saucers or stacks of pancakes, and can remain in the same spot for hours, even with strong winds. They are a beautiful and serene indicator of the invisible motion of the air. With steady breath, the wind sculpts the sky into still art. Let that settle like dust on a quiet floor. Fact 23. During a rain shower when the sun is out, a sun shower, you might have heard the folk wisdom that the devil is beating his wife. But the real reason is much simpler. A sun shower occurs when a rain-producing cloud is overhead or nearby, but the sun's light is not being blocked. This can happen when winds carry raindrops from a distant cloud into an area of clear sky, or when a rain cloud is small and isolated, allowing sunlight to stream in from the side. These are often the perfect conditions for a rainbow to form, with the sun behind you and the rain in front. Up close, it is a gentle paradox of sunshine and rain falling together. You can breathe a little deeper and allow the thought to drift. Fact 24. There is a delicate beauty to a morning coated in rime ice. Unlike frost, which is formed by deposition of water vapor, rime ice is formed by the rapid freezing of supercooled water droplets. It often occurs in foggy, windy, and freezing conditions, especially on mountains. As the tiny liquid water droplets in the cold fog are blown by the wind, they strike surfaces like tree branches or fences and freeze almost instantly. The ice crystals grow into the wind, creating opaque, comb-like structures that can look like white feathers or spikes. It is a testament to the power of wind and water working together in freezing temperatures. In this quiet corner, the world is transformed into a feathery white sculpture. Rest in the steady comfort of this moment. Fact 25. Humidity is a measure of the amount of water vapor in the air, a key ingredient for many weather phenomena. But relative humidity, the number you often hear in forecasts, is a little different. It tells you how much water vapor is in the air compared to the maximum amount it could hold at that specific temperature. For example, 50% relative humidity means the air is holding half the water vapor it is capable of holding. Warm air can hold much more moisture than cold air. This is why a cold winter day with 90% humidity might feel less damp than a hot summer day with 60% humidity. Beneath the surface, the air has a hidden capacity for water. Let your shoulders drop and the jaw unclench. Fact 26. High above the ground, ribbons of fast-moving air circle the globe. These are the jet streams. They form at the boundaries between large air masses of different temperatures, typically at altitudes of 5 to 9 miles. The great temperature difference creates a large pressure difference, which drives these powerful winds. Jet streams flow generally from west to east and follow a meandering, wavy path. These waves can shift, deepen, and change, influencing the movement of weather systems on the ground. A dip in the jet stream can bring cold polar air south, while a ridge can bring warm tropical air north. From a distance, they are invisible rivers in the sky, guiding the weather below. Feel the calm gather around you again. Fact 27. A full circle rainbow is a rare and beautiful sight. Normally, we only see the top arc of a rainbow because the horizon gets in the way. The center of a rainbow circle is always at the anti-solar point, which is the point directly opposite the sun from your perspective. This point is usually below the horizon. However, if you are high enough, for instance in an airplane or on a high cliff, you can see below the horizon. In these conditions, with the sun behind you and rain in front, you might be able to see the rainbow as a complete, unbroken circle of light. It is the full hidden geometry of the rainbow revealed. With the same easy pace, a simple arc becomes a perfect ring. Set the idea down and feel the weight release. Fact 28. Not all precipitation comes in the form of clean, round raindrops. Sometimes the rain feels more like a fine spray or mist. This is called drizzle. Drizzle consists of very small, light water droplets, typically less than 0.5 millimeters in diameter. Unlike raindrops, which fall from taller clouds with stronger updrafts, drizzle usually falls from low, stratus clouds. The droplets are so small and light that they can seem to float and drift more than they fall. A period of drizzle can last for hours, creating a persistent dampness in a soft gray atmosphere. In a calm rhythm, the sky delivers its water in the gentlest possible way. Let the body grow heavier as the mind stays simple. Fact 29. Sometimes clouds appear in a distinctive, pouch-like or bubbling pattern hanging from the underside of a larger cloud. These are mammatus clouds. Their name comes from the Latin word mamma, meaning udder or breast. They are often associated with the powerful anvil clouds of thunderstorms, but they themselves are not a sign of severe weather. They are formed by sinking pockets of cold, moist air, the opposite of the rising, warm air that forms most clouds. The exact mechanism is still debated by scientists, but the result is a stunning and unusual texture in the sky, especially when illuminated by the low light of a setting sun. Under quiet skies, even the underside of a cloud can have a complex beauty. Return to the easy rhythm of your breath. Fact 30. The feeling of a summer day is often tied to how much moisture is in the air. The heat index is a measure that combines air temperature with relative humidity to give a number for how hot it actually feels to the human body. When humidity is high, the sweat on your skin does not evaporate as easily. Because evaporation is our body's primary way of cooling itself, this process is slowed, and we feel hotter than the actual air temperature. A temperature of 90 degrees Fahrenheit can feel like 105 degrees if the humidity is high. As the pattern repeats, our bodies respond to the unseen water in the air. Settle back into the soft pace of night. Fact 31. A moonbow, or lunar rainbow, is a rainbow produced by the light of the moon instead of the sun. They are much fainter than their daytime counterparts because moonlight is far less bright. As a result, they often appear to the human eye as a dim white arc. Our eyes are not sensitive enough to perceive the faint colors at night. However, long exposure photographs can reveal the familiar spectrum of rainbow colors. To see one, you need a nearly full moon low in the sky, rain falling opposite the moon, and a very dark sky away from city lights. In quieter hours, the moon and the rain can paint their own subtle version of this classic wonder. Nothing urgent here, only a slow and steady patter. Fact 32. When you see tall, towering clouds that look like cauliflowers, you are likely looking at cumulus congestus, or towering cumulus. These are a more developed version of the fair-weather cumulus cloud. They form when the air is unstable, allowing the rising columns of warm air to extend much higher into the atmosphere. They are a sign of growing atmospheric energy and can produce showers of rain or snow. If the upward growth continues, these clouds can eventually develop into a cumulonimbus, or thunderstorm cloud. But on their own, they are simply a majestic sight, great castles of vapor climbing steadily into the sky. Without any hurry, a small puff of a cloud can grow into a tower. Let that idea rest for a moment before we move on. Fact 33. The wind does not blow in a straight line from high pressure to low pressure. Instead, its path is curved by the rotation of the Earth. This is called the Coriolis effect. In the northern hemisphere, the Earth's rotation deflects moving objects, including the wind, to the right. In the southern hemisphere, the deflection is to the left. This is why winds circulate clockwise around high-pressure systems in the north and counterclockwise around low-pressure systems. The effect is weakest at the equator and strongest at the poles. It is an invisible force, a subtle consequence of living on a spinning sphere. Along a steady path, even the wind must follow the turn of the world. Allow the mind to idle in gentle space. Fact 34. On a calm, cold day, you might see what looks like sparkling dust or tiny diamonds floating in the air. This phenomenon is called diamond dust. It is not dust at all, but a ground-level cloud composed of tiny, simple ice crystals. It forms in very cold and stable air, usually when the temperature is well below freezing. The crystals are so small that they remain suspended in the air. When sunlight hits them, they glitter and sparkle, creating a beautiful, subtle effect. Unlike fog, diamond dust does not usually obscure vision very much. It is a quiet, shimmering presence in the cold air, a reminder of the beauty that can be found in the deepest chill. Through a soft lens, the air itself seems to be made of jewels. Let your breathing find a slower pace. Fact 35. Sometimes you may see rays of light that appear to converge at the point on the horizon opposite the sun. These are anti-crepuscular rays. They are, in fact, the very same sunbeams as crepuscular rays, but seen from a different perspective. They are parallel shafts of sunlight that have traveled all the way across the sky. Just as parallel railroad tracks appear to converge in the distance, these parallel rays appear to converge at the anti-solar point. They are most commonly seen around sunrise or sunset when the sun's rays stretch across the length of the sky. It is a grand and peaceful illusion, connecting the rising and setting sun in one long, unbroken line of light. Feel the simple ease of being here. Fact 36. The water cycle is the continuous movement of water on, above, and below the surface of the earth. It is a vast and constant process that sustains all life. The sun's energy causes water to evaporate from oceans, lakes, and rivers, turning into vapor and rising into the atmosphere. Plants also release water vapor through a process called transpiration. As this moist air rises, it cools, and the water vapor condenses to form clouds. Eventually, these clouds release the water back to the earth in the form of precipitation, like rain or snow. The water then flows back to the rivers and oceans, and the cycle begins again. With unhurried steps, the world's water is forever cycling. Let the body be held by what supports you. Fact 37. Not all fog is the same. Advection fog forms when warm, moist air moves horizontally, or advex, over a cooler surface. A classic example is the famous fog of San Francisco. There, warm, humid air from the Pacific Ocean blows over the cold waters of the California current. This chills the air from below, causing the water vapor to condense into a thick blanket of fog. This fog is then carried inland by the prevailing winds, rolling over the hills and through the Golden Gate. Unlike radiation fog, which forms on calm nights, advection fog can form at any time and can be accompanied by wind. Elsewhere in this picture, air is on the move, carrying its moisture with it. Allow the day to fall away now. Fact 38. The different layers of clouds in the sky can tell a story. The highest clouds are the cirrus family, made of ice. Below them are the alto clouds, like alto cumulus and alto stratus, which are mid-level clouds made of a mix of water droplets and ice crystals. Alto cumulus clouds often appear as white or grayish patches in layers or waves. Alto stratus clouds are more uniform, a grayish or bluish sheet that can cover the sky and make the sun appear as if it is seen through ground glass. The lowest clouds are the stratus and cumulus families. Observing these layers can give you a sense of the atmosphere's vertical structure. From a distance, the sky has a gentle and complex architecture. Rest in the quiet that follows. Fact 39. The freezing of a lake in winter is a quiet and gradual weather event. As the air temperature drops, the surface water of the lake cools. Because water is most dense at about 4 degrees Celsius, this cooler, denser water sinks, and warmer water from below rises to take its place. This process, called turnover, continues until the entire lake is cooled to 4 degrees. Only then can the surface water continue to cool down to 0 degrees and begin to freeze. Because ice is less dense than water, it floats, forming a protective layer over the water below. This insulates the rest of the lake, allowing aquatic life to survive the winter. Beneath the surface, this slow process protects a hidden world. Hold only the calm and let the rest drift. Fact 40. A 22-degree halo is one of the most common optical phenomena caused by ice crystals. It appears as a large ring of light around the sun or moon with a radius of about 22 degrees, which is roughly the span of your hand held at arm's length. It is created when light is refracted by millions of tiny hexagonal ice crystals in high, thin cirrus or cirrus clouds. The light passes through the side faces of these randomly oriented pencil-shaped crystals, bent at a minimum angle of 22 degrees. This concentrates the light into a circle. Old weather lore says that a ring around the moon means rain soon, and it is often true. As the pattern repeats, these high clouds often precede a storm system. Let that thought soften at the edges and fade. Fact 41. The Earth has its own natural thermostat, a process that helps regulate its temperature over long periods. This is known as the greenhouse effect. Certain gases in the atmosphere, like water vapor and carbon dioxide, are called greenhouse gases. They are transparent to the incoming shortwave radiation from the sun, allowing it to pass through and warm the Earth's surface. The Earth then radiates this energy back as long-wave infrared radiation. These gases absorb some of this outgoing radiation, trapping the heat and keeping the planet warmer than it would otherwise be. This natural effect is essential for life, keeping the average temperature of the Earth comfortable and stable. Over time, the atmosphere provides a gentle, warming blanket. Let that settle like dust on a quiet floor. Fact 42. In mountainous regions, winds often follow a daily rhythm of their own, flowing up and down the slopes. During the day, the sun heats the mountain slopes, which in turn warms the air directly above them. This warmer, less dense air then begins to flow uphill. This is called an anabatic wind. At night, the process reverses. The slopes cool down quickly through radiation, chilling the air nearby. This cooler, denser air then drains down the slopes into the valley below, creating a gentle flow called a katabatic wind. This daily cycle of upslope and downslope breezes is like a slow, deep breath taken by the mountains each day. In this quiet corner, even the mountains have their own local weather. You can breathe a little deeper and allow the thought to drift. Fact 43. Snow is not just one thing. There are many different types of frozen precipitation. Graupel, for example, is sometimes called soft hail or snow pellets. It forms when supercooled water droplets freeze onto a falling snowflake. This process, called accretion, covers the original crystal in a frosty coating, creating a small, opaque ball of ice. Graupel pellets are soft and crumbly, and they often bounce when they hit a surface. They are typically fragile and will fall apart when handled. They form in unstable wintertime clouds and can be a sign that the atmosphere is cold enough for more organized snowfall. Up close, even a snowflake can have a complex journey. Rest in the steady comfort of this moment. Fact 44. A mirage is an optical phenomenon where light rays are bent to produce a displaced image of distant objects. A common inferior mirage is the illusion of a pool of water on a hot road. This happens when the air right above the road is much hotter and less dense than the air above it. Light from the sky that travels down toward the road is refracted or bent upwards as it passes through this less dense layer of air. Your brain interprets this light as coming from the ground, creating a shimmering reflection that looks like water. It is a trick of the light, a painting made by heat and air. With simple patience, the air can bend light in surprising ways. Let your shoulders drop and the jaw unclench. Fact 45. The blue color of the daytime sky is a wonder we often take for granted. This color is a result of a phenomenon called Rayleigh scattering. Sunlight is made up of a spectrum of colors. As it passes through Earth's atmosphere, it interacts with the tiny molecules of gas, primarily nitrogen and oxygen. These molecules scatter the shorter blue and violet wavelengths of light more effectively than the longer red and yellow wavelengths. This scattered blue light comes to our eyes from all directions, painting the entire sky in its signature hue. Without an atmosphere, like on the moon, the sky would be black. In this way, the air itself gives the sky its gentle color. Feel the calm gather around you again. Fact 46. At sunrise and sunset, the sky often glows with brilliant shades of red, orange, and pink. This is also due to the scattering of sunlight. When the sun is low on the horizon, its light must pass through much more of the atmosphere to reach our eyes. By the time the light gets to us, most of the blue and violet light has been scattered away from our line of sight. This leaves the longer wavelengths, the reds and oranges, to travel more directly to our eyes, creating the warm colors of twilight. The most vibrant sunsets often occur when there are high clouds to reflect this reddish light back down. Under quiet skies, the end of the day is painted with the colors that travel the farthest. Set the idea down and feel the weight release. Fact 47. In the northern and southern polar regions, the long, dark winter is sometimes illuminated by a shimmering, ethereal display of light in the sky. This is the aurora, the northern lights or southern lights. Auroras are caused by energetic particles from the sun, carried on the solar wind, interacting with the Earth's magnetic field. This field funnels the particles toward the poles, where they collide with atoms and molecules of gas in the upper atmosphere. These collisions excite the atoms, causing them to glow in different colors, most commonly a soft green from oxygen. The aurora dances in silent, shifting curtains of light, a visible sign of our planet's connection to the sun. As the night settles, the sky puts on its own quiet light show. Let the body grow heavier as the mind stays simple. Fact 48. A temperature inversion is a situation where the normal pattern of temperature in the atmosphere is reversed. Usually, the air gets colder as you go up in altitude. In an inversion, a layer of warmer air sits on top of a layer of cooler air near the ground. This can happen on calm, clear nights when the ground cools rapidly, chilling the air directly above it. The warm air layer acts like a lid, trapping the cooler air below and preventing it from mixing. This can lead to the formation of fog or haze that can last until the sun warms the ground enough to break the inversion. Beneath the surface of the normal atmosphere, these quiet layers can form and persist. Return to the easy rhythm of your breath. Fact 49. Cirrostratus clouds are thin, sheet-like high-altitude clouds composed of ice crystals. They are often so thin that the sun or moon can be seen through them. They are responsible for creating the halos we sometimes see, like the 22-degree halo. Their presence can be a subtle but reliable indicator of approaching moisture. While they don't produce precipitation themselves, they often form at the leading edge of a warm front, signaling that a broader, lower deck of clouds and potential rain may be on its way within 12 to 24 hours. Watching for these translucent veils is a classic way to practice simple weather forecasting. With steady breath, you can learn to read the sky's gentle warnings. Settle back into the soft pace of night. Fact 50. The doldrums are a region near the equator known for its calm or very light winds. This area, officially called the Intertropical Convergence Zone, is where the trade winds of the northern and southern hemispheres meet. As these winds converge, the warm, moist air is forced to rise, creating a zone of low pressure. It then cools and forms the frequent, towering clouds and heavy rain common in the tropics. Because the primary air movement is upward rather than horizontal, the surface winds are often weak and variable. For ancient sailors, this region could mean being stranded for weeks, but for the planet, it is a vital engine of global air circulation. In this quiet corner of the ocean, the air moves up instead of across. Nothing urgent here, only a slow and steady pattern. Fact 51. Have you ever noticed your breath turning into a small cloud on a cold day? You are creating your own miniature weather system. The air you exhale is warm and saturated with water vapor. When this warm, moist air mixes with the colder, drier ambient air, it cools rapidly. As it cools to its dew point, the invisible water vapor in your breath condenses into tiny liquid water droplets or ice crystals, creating the visible puff of cloud. It is the same basic principle that forms fog or natural clouds, just on a very small and temporary scale. In this way, you carry the potential for a cloud with you in every breath. Let that idea rest for a moment before we move on. Fact 52. The trade winds are steady, persistent winds that blow from the east in the tropical regions of the world. They exist in both the northern and southern hemispheres, blowing from the northeast in the north and from the southeast in the south. They are part of a massive circulation cell, known as the Hadley cell. At the equator, hot air rises and flows toward the poles. At about 30 degrees latitude, this air cools and sinks, creating a high-pressure zone. The air then flows along the surface back toward the low-pressure equator, creating the trade winds. Their name comes from their reliability, which was crucial for trading ships in the age of sail. Along a steady path, they are the planet's most dependable breezes. Allow the mind to idle in gentle space. Fact 53. The phenomenon of St. Elmo's fire is a gentle and quiet form of plasma. It is not fire at all, but a luminous glow that can appear on pointed objects like the mast of a ship or the wing of an airplane during a thunderstorm. It is created when the strong electric field in the atmosphere near the storm ionizes the air molecules, causing them to emit a faint blue or violet light. It is often accompanied by a soft hissing or buzzing sound. While it occurs in electrically charged conditions, it is not lightning and is not dangerous in itself. It is a slow and quiet discharge of electricity, a silent companion to the more dramatic storm. In the gentle background, the air itself can begin to glow. Let your breathing find a slower pace. Fact 54. A double rainbow is a beautiful and relatively common sight. It occurs when sunlight is reflected not once, but twice inside the raindrops. This second reflection creates a secondary, fainter rainbow that appears outside the primary bow. Because of the extra reflection, the order of the colors in the secondary rainbow is reversed, with red on the inside and violet on the outside. The sky between the two bows, known as Alexander's band, often appears noticeably darker than the surrounding sky, because raindrops in this region are not scattering light toward the observer in the same way. It is a beautiful geometric echo of the primary rainbow. With the same easy pace, light performs the same trick twice. Feel the simple ease of being here. Fact 55. Sleet is a type of winter precipitation that is different from both snow and hail. It consists of small, translucent ice pellets. Sleet begins its life as a snowflake falling from a cold cloud. As it falls, it passes through a layer of warmer air where it partially or completely melts into a raindrop. Then, before it reaches the ground, it enters a deep layer of freezing air, which causes the raindrop to refreeze into a tiny ball of ice. Unlike hail, which forms in violent thunderstorm updrafts, sleet is a product of this specific layered temperature profile in the atmosphere. Up close, a single pellet of sleet holds the story of its journey through warm and cold layers. Let the body be held by what supports you. Fact 56. You may have noticed that clouds have a remarkable range of colors, from brilliant white to deep gray. The color of a cloud depends on its thickness and the position of the observer. Thin clouds appear white because the small water droplets or ice crystals within them scatter all wavelengths of sunlight more or less equally, which combines to look like white light. However, as a cloud gets thicker and denser, more sunlight is scattered and absorbed by the upper parts of the cloud. This means less light makes it through to the base of the cloud, making its underside appear darker and grayer. The color of a cloud is simply a measure of how much light it is letting through. To a soft lens, a gray cloud is just a shadow. Allow the day to fall away now. Fact 57. A microclimate is a local set of atmospheric conditions that differ from those in the surrounding areas. A forested area, for example, is often cooler and more humid than a nearby open field. The canopy of trees provides shade and releases moisture through transpiration. A large city creates a microclimate known as an urban heat island, where concrete and asphalt absorb more solar radiation, making the city several degrees warmer than the surrounding countryside. Even your own backyard might have different microclimates, with a shady damp corner and a hot dry patch of sun. In this way, the broader weather pattern is filled with countless small local variations. Rest in the quiet that follows. Fact 58. Wind chill is a measure that describes how cold people feel, which is often much colder than the actual air temperature on a windy day. The human body warms a thin layer of air right next to the skin, which acts as a small zone of insulation. However, when the wind blows, it carries this warm layer away, forcing your body to use more energy to keep warm. The wind chill index combines the air temperature with the wind speed to calculate an equivalent temperature, the temperature it would feel like on a completely calm day. It is a reminder that the movement of air plays a huge role in how we experience the cold. In a calm rhythm, the wind carries away our warmth. Hold only the calm and let the rest drift. Fact 59. The world's oceans are a massive engine for weather, storing and transporting vast amounts of heat around the globe. Ocean currents, driven by winds and differences in water density, act like a global conveyor belt. For instance, the Gulf Stream current carries warm water from the tropics up the east coast of North America and across the Atlantic to northern Europe. This releases enormous amounts of heat into the atmosphere, making countries like the United Kingdom and Ireland much milder than they would otherwise be at their latitude. These slow, powerful rivers within the ocean are a cornerstone of the global climate system. From a distance, the ocean and atmosphere are in a constant, gentle conversation. Let that thought soften at the edges and fade. Fact 60. Cirrocumulus clouds are small, white patches of cloud arranged in ripples or grains, like scales on a fish. This is why a sky with these clouds is sometimes called a mackerel sky. They are high-altitude clouds composed of ice crystals and indicate a degree of instability in the upper atmosphere. They often form when cirrus or cirrostratus clouds are warmed from below, creating small convective currents that give them their patchy, rippled appearance. Like other high clouds, they do not produce rain, but their presence can sometimes signal a change and the weather is on its way. As the pattern repeats, even the highest clouds can show a delicate texture. Let that settle like dust on a quiet floor. Fact 61. The quiet stillness after a fresh snowfall has a scientific reason. Freshly fallen snow is composed of a multitude of delicate ice crystals with a great deal of open space between them. This porous structure is incredibly effective at absorbing sound waves, rather than reflecting them. This is why the world often seems so hushed and peaceful after a heavy snow. The blanket of snow acts as a natural acoustic tile, dampening sounds and creating a profound sense of quiet. As the snow settles and compacts over time, it loses some of this ability. But in those first few hours, it brings a special kind of silence to the landscape. Elsewhere in this picture, the world has been wrapped in a blanket of quiet. You can breathe a little deeper and allow the thought to drift. Fact 62. Plants play a quiet but significant role in the weather through a process called transpiration. This is the process by which plants absorb water through their roots and then release it as water vapor through small pores on the underside of their leaves, called stomata. A large tree can transpire hundreds of gallons of water into the atmosphere on a hot day. In heavily forested areas like the Amazon rainforest, this massive release of moisture is a major source of the water that forms clouds and eventually falls as rain. In this way, the forest helps to create its own weather, a self-sustaining cycle of water. With unhurried steps, the silent work of trees adds moisture to the air. Rest in the steady comfort of this moment. Fact 63. The average lightning bolt is impressively powerful. But did you know that most lightning occurs within clouds rather than striking the ground? Intracloud lightning is the most common type, occurring between areas of opposite electrical charge within the same cloud. The flash is often hidden from view, making the entire cloud appear to light up from within, an effect sometimes called sheet lightning. Another type is cloud-to-cloud lightning, which jumps between two different clouds. Only about 1/4 of all lightning flashes are the classic cloud-to-ground strikes. The sky above is often far more electrically active than it appears from below. Beneath the surface, the clouds hold a quiet electrical dance. Let your shoulders drop and the jaw unclench. Fact 64. A snowpack is the accumulation of fallen snow that persists on the ground for an extended period. Over time, the snowpack undergoes changes. The delicate individual snowflakes become more rounded and compacted, forming a denser material called firn. In mountain regions, the depth and water content of the snowpack are crucial. It acts as a natural reservoir, storing water throughout the winter. In the spring, as temperatures rise, the snowpack melts gradually, releasing water that feeds rivers and streams, providing a vital water source for communities and ecosystems downstream. It is a slow-release system, a quiet promise of water held in the cold. With steady breath, the snow waits patiently for the warmth of spring. Feel the calm gather around you again. Fact 65. The term equinox refers to the 2 times a year when the Earth's axis is tilted neither toward nor away from the sun. This happens around March 20th and September 22nd. On the day of the equinox, the sun is directly over the equator, and day and night are of approximately equal length all over the world. The vernal, or spring, equinox marks the beginning of spring in the northern hemisphere, while the autumnal equinox marks the beginning of autumn. These are not a single moment for the whole world, but rather a specific point in Earth's orbit. They are quiet turning points in the planet's long yearly journey. As the night settles, the world finds a moment of perfect balance. Set the idea down and feel the weight release. Fact 66. Isotherms are lines on a weather map that connect points of equal temperature. They allow meteorologists and us to visualize the patterns of temperature across a region. Where the isotherms are packed closely together, it indicates a strong temperature gradient, meaning the temperature changes rapidly over a short distance. This is often where fronts are located. Where the isotherms are spread far apart, the temperature is relatively uniform. Watching how these lines of equal temperature move and bend over time gives a clear picture of how air masses are shifting, bringing warmth or cold to different areas. On a grander scale, the air is covered in invisible lines of heat. Let the body grow heavier as the mind stays simple. Fact 67. The air around you has weight. At sea level, the atmosphere presses down with a force of about 14.7 pounds per square inch. We do not feel this weight because it presses on us from all directions equally, and the pressure inside our bodies balances it. Atmospheric pressure is not constant, it changes with altitude and weather conditions. As you go higher, there is less air above you, so the pressure decreases. This is why it is harder to breathe on a high mountain. This invisible weight of the air is the fundamental force that drives the winds and holds our atmosphere to the planet. Meanwhile, this unseen ocean of air rests gently on the world. Return to the easy rhythm of your breath. Fact 68. Sometimes, snow can fall in the form of regular, six-sided columns or needles instead of the familiar flat, intricate dendrites. These shapes tend to form at very cold temperatures. Capped columns are another fascinating variation, where a column-shaped crystal has a flat, plate-like crystal that has grown on each end. It looks like a tiny axle with two wheels. These different shapes form because the way water vapor crystallizes onto an ice crystal changes depending on the temperature and humidity. The study of these crystal habits is a deep and complex field, revealing the subtle physics at play in the heart of a cloud. In the unseen world, even a simple crystal can have many different forms. Settle back into the soft pace of night. Fact 69. The solstice marks the 2 times a year when the sun reaches its highest or lowest point in the sky at noon, resulting in the longest and shortest days of the year. The summer solstice, around June 21st in the northern hemisphere, is the longest day of the year and marks the beginning of summer. The sun is at its northernmost point, directly over the Tropic of Cancer. The winter solstice, around December 21st, is the shortest day of the year and marks the beginning of winter. The sun is at its southernmost point, over the Tropic of Capricorn. These are the hinges of the year, the quiet extremes of the sun's journey across our sky. In a calm rhythm, the light waxes and wanes. Nothing urgent here, only a slow and steady pattern. Fact 70. Heat lightning, often seen on warm summer nights, is not a special type of lightning. It is simply regular lightning from a thunderstorm that is very far away. The storm is so distant, often over the horizon, that you cannot hear the thunder it produces. The light from the flash, however, can travel much farther and get scattered by the atmosphere, causing the sky to appear to light up with a faint, silent flash. It is a sign of an active storm many miles away, too far to be a threat, but close enough to put on a quiet show. From a distance, even a powerful storm can become a gentle pulse of light. Let that idea rest for a moment before we move on. Fact 71. The air naturally cleans itself through several gentle processes. Rain is one of the most effective, as falling raindrops collect particles of dust, pollen, and pollutants from the air, carrying them down to the ground. This process is called wet deposition, and it is why the air often feels so fresh and clean after a good rain. Another process is dry deposition, where particles simply settle out of the atmosphere due to gravity or are impacted onto surfaces like leaves and buildings. Over time, these natural mechanisms work to remove impurities from the air we breathe, in a constant, quiet cycle of renewal. Along a steady path, the atmosphere washes itself clean. Allow the mind to idle in gentle space. Fact 72. Freezing rain is one of the more unusual forms of winter precipitation. It actually falls as a liquid raindrop, but one that is supercooled. This means its temperature is below freezing, but it has not yet turned to ice. It can do this because it lacks a nucleus, a tiny particle for ice crystals to form on. When these supercooled drops strike a surface that is at or below freezing, like a road, a tree branch, or a power line, they freeze almost instantly. This creates a smooth, clear coating of ice called glaze. It can be beautiful, encasing everything in a layer of crystal, but it is also very heavy. In prettier hours, the rain can turn the world to glass. Let your breathing find a slower pace. Fact 73. Far out at sea, near 30 degrees latitude north and south, lie the horse latitudes. These are belts of high pressure and calm, light winds, similar to the doldrums at the equator. This is the region where the warm air that rose at the equator and traveled poleward finally cools and sinks back toward the surface. This sinking air creates a stable, dry atmosphere with little cloud formation and minimal wind. The world's great deserts are located at these latitudes. The name is said to have originated in the colonial era when sailing ships carrying horses from Europe to the Americas would get stranded in these calm seas, and to conserve water, the horses would be thrown overboard. With simple patience, the air completes its great circulation. Feel the simple ease of being here. Fact 74. The wind sings a different song depending on what it flows through. The sound of wind is not the air itself making noise, but the result of the air flowing around an object, creating turbulence and vibrations. Wind rushing through pine needles creates a soft, high-pitched whisper. Wind blowing over the top of a chimney or bottle creates a low moan. The rustle of wind in the leaves of a deciduous tree is a complex, layered sound that changes with the season. These sounds can tell us about the speed and character of the wind, a natural music played on the landscape. Through a soft lens, you can listen to the voice of the moving air. Let the body be held by what supports you. Fact 75. You may have noticed that on a clear night, it tends to get much colder than on a cloudy night. This is because clouds act like a blanket for the earth. During the day, the ground absorbs energy from the sun. At night, it radiates this energy back out into space in the form of infrared radiation, which causes it to cool down. On a cloudy night, this outgoing radiation is absorbed and re-radiated by the water droplets in the clouds, with some of it being sent back down to the surface. This slows down the cooling process. On a clear night, however, the heat escapes directly into space. Under quiet skies, the Earth breathes its warmth out into the cosmos. Allow the day to fall away now. Fact 76. Morning glory clouds are a rare and spectacular meteorological phenomenon. They consist of one or more long, tube-shaped clouds that can stretch for up to 600 miles. These clouds roll across the sky at low altitudes, sometimes at speeds of up to 40 miles per hour. They are a type of solitary wave, or soliton, that forms in the atmosphere under specific conditions, often in a stable layer near the surface. The most famous and predictable morning glory clouds occur in the Gulf of Carpentaria in northern Australia. They are a truly awesome and gentle sight. A silent, smooth wave rolling across the vast expanse of the sky. In this quiet corner of the world, a unique wave travels through the air. Rest in the quiet that follows. Fact 77. Weather balloons are one of the primary tools for gathering data about the atmosphere. Twice a day, at hundreds of locations around the world, meteorologists release large balloons filled with hydrogen or helium. Attached to each balloon is a small, lightweight instrument package called a radiosonde. As the balloon rises, the radiosonde measures temperature, humidity, and pressure, and a GPS unit tracks its position to determine wind speed and direction. The data is transmitted back to the ground station in real time. The balloon continues to rise until the pressure difference causes it to burst, and the radiosonde falls back to Earth on a small parachute. With unhurried steps, these balloons paint a vertical picture of the atmosphere. Hold only the calm and let the rest drift. Fact 78. Sometimes you may see a faint whitish bow in the sky at night, especially in foggy conditions. This is a fog bow. Similar to a rainbow, It is caused by sunlight or moonlight interacting with water droplets. However, the droplets in fog are much smaller than raindrops, typically less than 0.05 millimeters in diameter. Because the droplets are so small, the diffraction of light becomes a more dominant effect than refraction. This spreads out the colors so much that they overlap, creating a broad, pale arc that is mostly white, with perhaps a faint reddish tinge on the outside and a bluish tinge on the inside. It is a ghostly, subtle cousin of the vibrant rainbow. In a calm rhythm, even fog can create a gentle arc of light. Let that thought soften at the edges and fade. Fact 79. An occluded front is a more complex type of weather front that forms during the later stages of a mid-latitude cyclone. It occurs when a faster-moving cold front catches up to and overtakes a slower-moving warm front. When this happens, the warm air that was between the two fronts is lifted completely off the ground. What is left is a boundary between the cool air that was ahead of the warm front and the cold air that is behind the cold front. An occluded front often brings a period of unsettled weather, with a mix of clouds and precipitation as the storm system begins to weaken and dissipate. From a distance, it is the final, gentle chapter in the life of a storm. Let that settle like dust on a quiet floor. Fact 80. Isobars are lines on a weather map that connect points of equal atmospheric pressure. They are like the contour lines on a topographical map, but for air pressure instead of elevation. Where the isobars are spaced closely together, it signifies a steep pressure gradient and strong winds. Where they are far apart, the winds are light. The patterns of isobars reveal the locations of high-pressure systems, where pressure is highest, and low-pressure systems, or cyclones, where pressure is lowest. By watching the movement of these patterns, meteorologists can track the movement of weather systems across the globe. As you rest, picture these invisible lines of pressure, gently shaping the winds of the world. You can breathe a little deeper and allow the thought to drift. Fact 81. The feel of the air on a summer evening is often described as balmy. This word suggests a pleasant warmth and a gentle breeze, but it also implies a certain softness in the air. This feeling is often associated with moderate humidity. Air that is too dry can feel harsh, while air that is too humid can feel heavy and oppressive. A balmy evening finds the comfortable middle ground. It is the kind of weather that invites you to be still, to listen to the quiet sounds of the night, and to feel the gentle touch of the air on your skin. It is not a scientific term but a poetic one, capturing a perfect moment of weather-related comfort. As the pattern repeats, nature provides moments of simple, perfect ease. Rest in the steady comfort of this moment. Fact 82. The wind has a vast and varied vocabulary. A breeze is a light, gentle wind. A gust is a sudden, brief increase in wind speed. A squall is a more prolonged and stronger gust, often accompanied by precipitation. The Beaufort scale, developed in the early 19th century, is a way of estimating wind speed based on its observed effects on the sea or on land. A light air on this scale might cause smoke to drift, but not move a wind vane. A gentle breeze will rustle leaves and extend a light flag. A moderate breeze will raise dust and loose paper. Each term paints a picture of the air's motion and its quiet interaction with the world. Without any hurry, you can learn the many names for the moving air. Let your shoulders drop and the jaw unclench. Fact 83. The Earth's albedo is a measure of how much of the sun's energy is reflected back into space. It is a crucial factor in the planet's energy balance. Surfaces with a high albedo, like fresh snow or ice, reflect a large portion of the incoming solar radiation and thus have a cooling effect. Surfaces with a low albedo, like dark soil or open ocean water, absorb more energy and have a warming effect. The average albedo of the Earth is about 30%, meaning it reflects about a third of the sunlight that reaches it. This reflective property of our planet's surfaces is a quiet but powerful force in shaping our global climate. Elsewhere in this picture, the color of the ground is deciding how much warmth to keep. Feel the calm gather around you again. Fact 84. The quiet crackle of a fire on a cold night is not just a sound, it is a tiny weather event. As wood burns, it releases trapped moisture and gases. The crackling and popping sounds are caused by these substances heating up rapidly, expanding, and bursting out from the wood. It is a miniature explosion, a release of energy stored long ago by a tree. The warmth you feel is infrared radiation, the same kind of energy the Earth radiates back into space. The gently rising smoke is a plume of warm air carrying tiny particles, a man-made thermal. From a distance, even the smallest fire is a complex interplay of energy and matter. Set the idea down and feel the weight release. Fact 85. The process of sublimation is a quiet and often unseen phase transition. It is when a substance changes directly from a solid to a gas, without passing through the liquid phase. In weather, this happens with snow and ice. On a cold, dry, and sunny day, the energy from the sun can be enough to cause ice molecules on the surface of a snowpack to break free and become water vapor directly. This is why snow can slowly disappear, even when the temperature remains below freezing. The opposite process, when water vapor turns directly into ice, is called deposition, which is how frost forms. Along a steady path, water moves through its many forms. Let the body grow heavier as the mind stays simple. Fact 86. Contrails. The long, thin lines of cloud you sometimes see trailing behind a jet aircraft are a man-made form of cirrus cloud. They are composed of water ice crystals. The hot, humid exhaust from the jet engines mixes with the extremely cold, low-pressure air of the high altitude. This causes the water vapor to condense and freeze rapidly, forming a visible trail. Depending on the humidity of the surrounding air, a contrail might last for only a few seconds, or it might persist and spread out for hours, becoming almost indistinguishable from natural cirrus clouds. They are a visible record of a journey etched into the sky. In this way, human activity gently paints the atmosphere. Return to the easy rhythm of your breath. Fact 87. Haze is a weather phenomenon where dust, smoke, and other dry particles obscure the clarity of the sky. Unlike fog, which is caused by suspended water droplets, haze is caused by solid aerosol particles. These particles scatter sunlight, which can reduce visibility and give the sky a pale, washed-out look. Haze is often more prevalent in the summer, when stable air and a lack of wind allow pollutants and natural particles to accumulate in the lower atmosphere. It can create very colorful sunsets, as the particles scatter away the blue light, but it can also lend a heavy, still feeling to the air. Over time, the air collects the dust of the world, settle back into the soft pace of night. Fact 88. Supercooled water is water that remains in its liquid state even though its temperature is below the freezing point of 0 degrees Celsius. This can happen in the atmosphere when water droplets are very pure and lack a nucleus, such as a dust particle or an ice crystal, for the freezing process to begin. Many clouds, especially mid-level clouds like altostratus, are composed of these supercooled droplets. When an airplane flies through such a cloud, the droplets can freeze on impact with the wings, a process called icing. These supercooled droplets are also essential for the formation of sleet and freezing rain. In the unseen world, water can exist in a quiet state of suspended transformation. Nothing urgent here, only a slow and steady pattern. Fact 89. The wind makes waves on the surface of water through the transfer of energy. As the wind blows across the water, the friction between the air and the water creates small ripples. If the wind is sustained, it continues to push on these ripples, transferring more energy and causing them to grow into larger waves. The size of the waves depends on three factors: the wind speed, the duration of time the wind has been blowing, and the fetch, which is the distance of open water over which the wind blows. These waves, born of the wind, can then travel for thousands of miles across the ocean as swell, carrying the energy of a distant breeze. In this way, the wind's touch can be felt far from where it blew. Let that idea rest for a moment before we move on. Fact 90. The ozone layer is a region in the Earth's stratosphere that contains a high concentration of ozone gas. This layer is vitally important for life on Earth because it absorbs most of the sun's harmful ultraviolet radiation. Ozone molecules are continuously being formed and destroyed in a natural cycle. They are formed when ultraviolet radiation splits oxygen molecules into single atoms, which then combine with other oxygen molecules. This absorption of UV energy not only protects us but also heats the stratosphere, creating the temperature profile of the upper atmosphere. It is an invisible shield, a silent and crucial component of our planet's atmospheric system. In the gentle background, this layer provides a constant, quiet protection. Allow the mind to idle in gentle space. Fact 91. Snowfall is measured in two ways: by its depth and by its snow water equivalent. The depth is simply how much snow has accumulated on the ground. The water equivalent is the depth of water that would result from melting the snow. This ratio can vary a lot. A typical ratio is about 10 to 1, meaning that 10 inches of snow will melt down to 1 inch of water. However, a very light, fluffy snow might have a ratio of 20 to 1, while a heavy, wet snow might be closer to 5 to 1. This measurement is very important for hydrologists who need to forecast water supply from the spring melt of the mountain snowpack. With the same easy pace, we can measure the water hidden within the snow. Let your breathing find a slower pace. Fact 92. Hoarfrost is a particularly beautiful type of frost that forms on cold, clear nights when the air is humid. Unlike the simple frozen dew of white frost, hoarfrost is formed through deposition, where water vapor in the air turns directly into ice crystals. These crystals grow outward from the surface, forming delicate, feathery, or needle-like structures. They often form on objects that are thin and exposed, like wires, tree branches, and the edges of leaves. The name comes from an Old English word for old or gray-haired, as the white crystals can make the landscape look ancient and venerable. Up close, each crystal is a delicate sculpture made by the still, cold air. Feel the simple ease of being here. Fact 93. A stationary front is a weather front that is not moving. It is a boundary between two different air masses, but neither one is strong enough to push the other out of the way. On a weather map, it is drawn as a line with alternating red semicircles and blue triangles pointing in opposite directions. The weather along a stationary front is often cloudy, and it can bring light rain or snow that can persist for several days. Eventually, the front will either dissipate, or one of the air masses will gain enough strength to start moving again, turning it into a warm or cold front. In a calm rhythm, the air can reach a temporary, gentle stalemate. Let the body be held by what supports you. Fact 94. The thermosphere is one of the highest layers of Earth's atmosphere, located above the mesosphere and below the exosphere. The air here is incredibly thin, with gas molecules spaced far apart. Because of this, the concept of temperature is a bit different. While the temperature, defined by the energy of the particles, can be extremely high, up to 2000 degrees Celsius, it would not feel hot to us. There are so few particles that the total amount of heat energy they could transfer to an object is very small. This is the layer where the Space Shuttle and the International Space Station orbit the Earth. It is also where much of the aurora occurs. With unhurried steps, the atmosphere fades into the vacuum of space. Allow the day to fall away now. Fact 95. The feeling of a crisp autumn day is a distinct weather experience. The word crisp suggests a cool, dry, and invigorating air. This often happens after a cold front has passed through, bringing in a mass of cooler, less humid air from the north. The sky is often a deep, clear blue, as the drier air has fewer particles and less haze to scatter the light. The sunlight itself feels bright, but lacks the intense heat of summer. It is a weather that feels clean and sharp, a perfect backdrop for the turning colors of the leaves. It is a sensory snapshot, a combination of temperature, humidity, and light that defines a season. Rest in the quiet that follows. Fact 96. The planetary boundary layer is the lowest part of the atmosphere, the layer that is directly influenced by its contact with the Earth's surface. Its height can vary from just a few hundred feet at night to over a mile during the hot afternoon. Within this layer, processes like friction with the ground, heat transfer, and evaporation are dominant. It is the layer where we live, where most weather that affects us occurs, and where pollutants can be trapped. Above the boundary layer lies the free atmosphere, where the wind is no longer affected by surface friction and blows more smoothly. From a distance, it is a thin but vital zone of interaction between the land and the sky. Hold only the calm and let the rest drift. Fact 97. The Beaufort scale is not just for the sea. It has a land-based version as well. A wind of force 0 is called calm, where smoke rises vertically. Force 1 is light air, where smoke drifts, but a wind vane does not move. Force 3 is a gentle breeze, which keeps leaves and small twigs in constant motion. Force 5, a fresh breeze, will cause small trees and leaf to sway. Each step on the scale provides a clear, observable description of the wind's effect on the world around us. It transforms an invisible force into a tangible experience, described by the dance of leaves, flags, and smoke. In looser hours, we can read the story of the wind in the world around us. Let that thought soften at the edges and fade. Fact 98. The sky on a completely overcast day can have a unique, diffuse light. When a thick layer of stratus clouds covers the sky, it acts like a giant softbox for the sun. The sunlight is scattered multiple times by the water droplets in the cloud, so that it comes to the ground from all directions rather than a single point. This creates a light with very soft or non-existent shadows. Colors can appear more saturated, and the world can feel enclosed and peaceful. It is a quiet, contemplative light, perfect for introspection and rest. On a grander scale, the clouds can change the entire character of the daylight. Let that settle like dust on a quiet floor. Fact 99. The air you are breathing right now is composed mostly of nitrogen, about 78%, and oxygen, about 21%. The remaining 1% is a mix of other gases, including argon, carbon dioxide, and trace amounts of others like neon and helium. And, of course, a variable amount of water vapor. This specific mixture is what has allowed life as we know it to evolve and flourish. It is a vast but finite resource, an ocean of gas that is held to our planet by gravity. Each breath you take is a quiet participation in this immense and life-giving atmospheric system. As you rest, you are part of this gentle planetary breathing. You can breathe a little deeper and allow the thought to drift. Fact 100. Weather is, at its heart, the story of balance. It is the atmosphere's constant attempt to even out differences in temperature and pressure across the globe. Heat flows from the warm equator toward the cold poles, carried by winds and ocean currents. Moist air rises, cools, and releases its water, which flows back to the sea. The planet spins and the air follows in great curving patterns. Everything we experience, from the gentlest breeze to the softest cloud, is a small part of this immense interconnected dance of energy and matter. It is a system of profound complexity, but its goal is simple: equilibrium. Under quiet skies, the world is always seeking a gentle harmony. Rest in the steady comfort of this moment. Outro. And now, our journey through the gentle wonders of weather comes to a soft close. We have drifted on quiet breezes, watched light bend into rainbows, and felt the silent chill of frost. We have seen how the world breathes, in the daily cycle of land and sea, and in the grand turning of the seasons. Each phenomenon, from the scent of rain to the hush of snow, is a small piece of a much larger story. A story of balance, energy, and water. As you settle deeper into your rest, feel yourself a part of this story. The air you breathe, the warmth of your body, the water within you, they are all part of this same grand, gentle system. The atmosphere will continue its quiet work while you sleep. The wind will blow, the stars will shine, and the world will continue its slow turn toward morning. Sleep well.